This is the Sattler Files. Howard's Army. Brought to you by DevWright, Homes of Distinction.
This is Bill Massie. We're going to be talking today with the Minister for Mental Health, Andrea Michel. From the 31st of March this year, when Andrea became the WA Minister for Mental Health and Child Protection, Andrea was confronted with a firestorm, ironically called ICE. ICE, the chemical name crystal methamphetamine, is the most dangerous illegal drug to have been foisted on the Australian community. A scourge like nothing seen before, and one which is fast swallowing a whole generation of young Australians. That's because ICE is immediately addictive. Only last year, Howard Sattler, on this site, interviewed a man who'd been trying to kick the drug for over a decade. He told Howard he was hooked from the moment he first tried it. Today's lawmakers, the minister, like Minister Michell, and the police had government sent into the field to try and catch the traffickers of these insidious drugs, are trying to kill off a $2 billion industry. That's a $2 billion industry in WA alone. That should tell everyone of us that the criminals making fortunes out of this trade aren't about to willingly bow down and leave the business. They care nothing. The only thing they care about is the money that their clients hand over for this shiny drug. It puts them off their collective faces. So what can the minister tell families and loved ones of addicts, and especially parents of youngsters who will be offered ICE, about the government's campaign against it? Minister Michel, welcome to the Sattler Files.
Good morning, Bill, and welcome. Good morning to everyone who is listening to the program.
Thank you for your time again, Andrea. How seriously is the government taking this so-called ICE epidemic?
Oh, Bill, I can assure you that this government is taking the ICE issue very, very seriously. We've had that special allocation through the May budget that is in addition to everything else we do through drugs and alcohol, and it is across government departments. So it's working with the police, it's working with myself in mental health, it's working with education, and it is a very much a dedicated focus on reducing the impact that meth is having on our community.
Why has it spread so quickly?
It's not so new. It's actually been around for a long time, Bill. There was a meth summit in 2007. But what we're dealing with now is a much stronger form of methamphetamine through the ICE, and it is so readily available and quickly available that is making a difference. So we want to make sure we stop the supply. We then also my role is to make sure we prevent people becoming involved with the drug, and also then at the same time providing treatment options for those people who wish to come off the drug. One of the things we actually launched yesterday, I just got to get my days right, was a helpline for people to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where if you're a user or a family member or a loved one, someone who cares about somebody, to ring and get some advice and or help. So one of the things I've picked up as I've been going around is that people really didn't know where to go to find out what to do. So this meth helpline, and if I'd like to give you the number if I can, 1-800-874-878 is the number that will be available to provide that first place where people can go to get advice, support, or divert off to treatment options. So that was one we did just this week, because that one that did come to me as being a real issue very, very quickly when I took on the role.
Would you like to repeat that number again?
Talk about some other things, Bill?
Yes, would you like to repeat that number again?
Yes, I would. It's 1-800-874-878.
Thank you. Now, you and your Cabinet colleague, Police Minister Lisa Harvey, have hosted a number of community forums on this issue. Have you learned from these events that anything that you didn't really know before?
Bill, you always learn when you listen to people, and we are very keen to make sure we listen to people. Are we surprised with some of the other things we hear? No, I suppose it's just the different ways that it gets presented to us. But one of the other ones that I'm doing is we're actually going to introduce compulsory treatment, and we're doing that preparation of the legislation now and how it will look. But once again, because we've heard from so many community people about their concerns about meth and the impact it is having on their family and their friends, that we also want to hear from the public. We've obviously got the expert steering group, we've got a community advisor group, but on Monday we released questions for discussion for anyone in the community who wishes to let us know how they feel or some suggestions they want to make to have that opportunity to get that information through to us. Because, as you probably understand, I can't speak to every person, but I'm very keen to hear from every person who is has some input into this. Often it's their personal experience, but that's also very valuable in what we're doing. Now, that ability to submit in response to that discussion paper is available to people till the 1st of December. But what I would also like to encourage them, if they're not sure, there's a website for the Mental Health Commission, and I will say that one if you don't mind, www.mhc.wa.gov.au. That's where the discussion paper is on their website. They can download it and respond to it in their own way. And I would really appreciate that input from them.
Okay, so even if we doubled the number of police, we couldn't stop the spread of vice, not when it's a $2 billion a year business and WE alone. Thankfully, there are some great citizens out there willing to address this issue, like Peter Lyndon James from Shalom House in the Swan Valley. I know you've been out there. What do you think about his work, and does your government support him?
Look, I have been amazed when I travel around, Bill, at the places who provide treatment options, and Shalom House is definitely one of those. They just keep giving and helping people, and I'm amazed at that. I've seen that in many parts of Western Australia at the moment, and I think that's important that we have a range of treatment services, because this drug, everyone gets affected somewhat differently. Sometimes people, and my first point of call is I hope that we get to them in time where they can still function in the community and have the treatment while they're still living in the community and participating fully in the community. Then, of course, we go when people become further addicted and life starts to unravel terribly, then often people like to move away, get away from everything and go through that process, which can take anywhere between 3 months and 2 years. Once again, everybody's different, and we need a range of services, treatment services, that suit different people. And that's what is also very important. We have that ability to make sure that services are available fairly quickly. Now, sometimes people have to wait a bit at the moment. I want to make sure that we don't leave people during that period of time, that we've actually got people supporting them in other ways.
The local shire of Swan wants him out of their patch. What would your response be to them?
Well, I can assure you that myself and the Honourable Alyssa Hayden are working very hard to assist Shalom House in whatever way we can. At the moment, the decision that you're talking about is with SAT, so that part is out of our, once it's there, we can't respond to anything there.
Of course, we've brought you groups from the southwest of WA, Bunbury, Busselton, Albany, each doing great work, but hopelessly under-resourced. Can the government offer the tangible support they require?
I've once again met with those groups you're talking about, and aren't they amazing people? One of the things that I think is important, the government can't fund everything. I welcome private sector investment. I welcome people who have the ability to work and source other things. Certainly one of the ones that you referred to in Bunbury, I am actually actively involved in trying to get support for them through other ways. Waiting for government grants, unfortunately, sometimes can take a long time. But at the same time, we can provide support in other ways, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely a slow wheel. Now, over the last couple of days, Minister, you've announced new initiatives in the government's war against the ice traffickers. Would you like to tell us more about it? I know we've touched on it earlier on there. But
Yeah, certainly. Firstly, there's that meth helpline, the discussion paper for the compulsory treatment program which we plan to introduce. There's also, we're expanding, there's a network of people called Community Alcohol and Drug Services. We're expanding that network, and we're increasing the number of people that will be working in there. At the same time, we said that we would increase the number of residential and low medical withdrawal beds across Western Australia. There were 60 beds in total, 52 for rehab, 8 for low medical detox. Those tenders have closed and the applicants are being assessed as we speak. I'm hoping that we will have that process completed during October with a view that they could be underway early in the new year. We've also put another $500,000 into the school drug education road aware program, because that is one that actually gets to young people at school. And I think you'll find also that there'll be more campaigns come out in the near future with specific information about meth as well.
so can we win this war? And that's what it is, it's a war. And if so, how long do you think it would take us?
What I think is, there's one thing to stop the supply, but there's another thing we need to give people the confidence and the knowledge to know that the thing to do is not to get involved in the first place. And that's why I'm keen to work with young people, in fact anybody, because quite often it appears that someone will say to them, "Oh, have a go, it's not going to hurt you and make you feel good." Now, we need to make sure that people know that little invitation is actually the danger. And we want to make sure that we give young people the confidence, the resilience to be able to say, "No thanks, not for me," and move on and make sure they hang around with friends that aren't going to put them in that situation.
Minister Michell, thank you very much for your valuable time. It's very important that we have the opportunity to be able to talk to you directly, and it comes direct from you. You're doing a wonderful job out there, and we very much appreciate what you're doing. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Bill.
Now, this was brought to you.
Howard's Army was brought to you by DevWright, Homes of Distinction. This is the Sattler File.